MiG-29 fighter jet, history and facts. During the Cold War, the former Soviet Union developed the twin-engine MiG-29 jet fighter in direct opposition to the burgeoning U.S. fighter jets. It entered the formal service of the Soviet Union's Air Force in 1982 and quickly established itself as a formidable danger in the skies thanks to its excellent maneuverability and superior thrust-to-weight ratio. Discover why this is one of the most renowned fighter jets in history by reading on. A strong Soviet response. The U.S. Air Force's FX program, which saw the introduction of their storied McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, was made known to the Soviet Union in 1969. Due to their severe technological inferiority, Soviet commanders moved quickly to create fighters that could keep the balance in aerial combat. The Mikoyan MiG-29 and Sukhoi Su-27 were created as a consequence of the Perspektivny Frontovoy Istrebitel, or Prospective Frontline Fighter, program. The MiG-29's design. Despite sharing a common ancestor with the Sukhoi Su-27, the MiG-29 and Sukhoi Su-27 have very different aerodynamic characteristics. The MiG-29 has swept tailplanes, 2 vertical fins, and a mid-mounted swept wing with blended leading-edge root extensions. It also had automated slats located on the leading edges of the wings and mounted booms outboard the engines. Additionally, there are maneuvering flaps and wingtip ailerons on the trailing edge to help with roll control. The MiG-29 possesses exceptional agility, instantaneous, sustained turn performance, and a strong resistance to spins thanks to hydraulic controls in the SAU-451 3-axis autopilot. A high-speed high flyer. The Mikoyan MiG-29 is a large jet fighter and is surprisingly speedy. The MiG-29 can travel at about 2,450 km per hour and attain Mach 2.3. 1,522 miles per hour. This agile aircraft also has a maximum ceiling height of 17,000 meters, 60,000 feet, which gives it the elevation and speed needed to compete head-to-head with American rivals. An amazing vertical takeoff. How often have you seen a vertical takeoff of an aircraft? We've all witnessed our fair share of horizontal aircraft takeoffs. So buckle on and keep an eye out as this MiG-29 begins its takeoff at a standard 45 degrees before accelerating to an incredibly cool 90 degrees. Journey to the edge of space. Check out the video below if the vertical takeoff has your heart racing and you're eager to see what it's like to pilot the renowned MiG-29. You have the amazing possibility to soar up to the edge of space in this recognizable fighter jet thanks to MiGFlug. What a cool thing! The Mikoyan MiG-29 was primarily created for the Soviet Union's Air Force to be used in battle, but it has since had a long career in a variety of roles and for a number of other nations, including Iraq, Iran, and India. With our 1/24 size MiG-29 replica, you can now construct this renowned jet, whether you wish. They are raised off the ground by stands. Bird poop drips from its radome. The airplane appears to be a military trophy that has been mounted like a head on a spike. It could be considered a war trophy obtained during the end of the Cold War. One of the 17 MiG-29s the U.S. government bought from Moldova, a former Soviet republic, in 1987 to prevent the sale of the aircraft to Iran. The loose confederation that succeeded the Soviet Union was powerless to prevent the purchase, which added another stain to the Soviet downfall. According to aviation historian Sergei Isaev of Moscow, any military establishment of any country would be angry if its opponent were given the opportunity to analyze and test its most recent weaponry. I wonder how pleased the Pentagon and the White House would be, for instance, if Mexico even attempted to sell some of its UH-60L Black Hawk helicopters to the Russian Federation. Additionally, the acquisition allowed Western analysts, some of whom were based inside the ominous structure of this National Intelligence Center, to examine the fighter they had been observing from a distance for 20 years. Like its very distant ancestor, the MiG-15, the MiG-29 was a surprising revelation when it initially appeared in 1977. The Soviets were catching up to American aeronautical technology. Around the time of the jet's debut flight in November 1977, satellite images provided the U.S. intelligence community with its first glimpse of the new Soviet aircraft. According to Benjamin Lambeth, author of the 1999 book Russia's Air Power in Crisis and, in the late 1970s, a defense analyst at the RAND Corporation in Santa Monica, California, it was clear that the Soviets were developing a counterpart to our F-16 and F/A-18 simply by looking at the size and shape of it. The U.S. government learned a good much about the airplane early on from all the various intelligence sources and means that we had for obtaining electronic and other information, and it was evident we had to do something, says the author. In 1981, the Air Force issued its first official requirement for the next generation of fighter technology, an advanced tactical fighter, which eventually became the F-22 Raptor. This involved starting the development of stealth technology and electronic systems that could hunt and target multiple aircraft at once. Since then, the information that was first gathered on the MiG-29 has come together to form a much better picture, thanks in part to the chance to look at the 21 Moldovan MiGs. The Fulcrums, 14 frontline C models, 6 older A models, and 1 B2-seater, were dismantled in Moldova between October 20th and October 27th, 1997, and the pieces were flown by C-17s to the National Intelligence Center in Dayton, Ohio, where the organization's Foreign Material Exploitation Facility examined them. NASIC won't tell what happened afterwards. James Lunsford, a NASIC communications officer, adds, "We don't want our enemies to know what we know." A small number of flyable Fulcrums likely traveled to Edwards Air Force Base in California for testing. The Nellis Air Force Base Threat Training Facility in Nevada, also known as the petting zoo within the service, received at least one example. It allows aspiring intelligence specialists to study a variety of hardware developed elsewhere. With the exception of an early A model that traveled the 10 minutes from NASIC to the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force, the remaining airframes and related parts are all classified. Jeff Duford, the museum's curator, directs me to the Checkpoint Charlie exhibit as we approach the 40,000 square foot Cold War Hall. The other aircraft have been forced into a theme-be-damned hodgepodge to the right by the very newly purchased, and now where do we put it? NASA Space Shuttle Crew Compartment Trainer, which dominates the left side of the hangar. Here, Ohio's second MiG-29 is paired with an ugly Fairchild Republic A-10 Warthog at an absurd 45-degree angle. Duford unbuckles a strap on a wall so we can have a better look. This Fulcrum, in contrast to the one that is rotting outside NASIC, has been lovingly restored and is resting in climate-controlled comfort while soaking up Klieg lights. It is also sparkling in a freshly painted finish that feels satiny to the touch. And the bigger Sukhoi Su-27 were created by the Mikoyan Design Bureau as an air dominance fighter in the 1970s to compete with emerging American fighters like the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle and the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon. In 1982, the Soviet Air Forces began using the MiG-29. While many MiG-29s are equipped as multi-role fighters capable of executing a number of various operations and are frequently equipped to utilize a range of air-to-surface weaponry and precise missiles, they were initially designed for combat against any adversary aircraft. The Mikoyan MiG-35 is the most sophisticated member of the family to date. The MiG-29 has been produced in a number of significant versions, notably the multi-role Mikoyan MiG-29M and the navalized Mikoyan MiG-29K. Later versions usually come with upgraded engines, glass cockpits with HOTAS-compatible flight controls, contemporary radar and infrared search and track (IRST) sensors, significantly more fuel capacity, and in some cases, aerial refueling capability. The MiG-29 has been used by the armies of several former Soviet republics after the fall of the Soviet Union, with the Russian Air Force being the major user. Deliveries of the modernized MiG-29 SMT type to the Russian Air Force were intended, but financial issues prevented this. More than 30 countries currently operate or have operated the MiG-29, making it a well-liked export aircraft. As of 2013, Mikoyan, a division of United Aircraft Corporation, UAC, was still manufacturing the MiG-29. Thank you for watching. View more our channel videos.